Here's a wild stat for you. More than 6 million Americans are now using GLP-1 medications, yet less than 10% actually understand how these peptides work beyond the scale. This is Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked, where we bring clarity to the most exciting tools in modern health and make them understandable for real people.
Exactly. And that's what today's story is about. We're talking with Karli Sine, who's down 55 pounds. But what's even more powerful is how she did it with intention, patience, and a focus on root cause healing.
This isn't a crash diet success story. It's about rebuilding metabolism, balancing hormones, and using GLP-1 peptides as a tool, not a shortcut.
Karli's journey is really proof that when you pair the right peptides with the right foundations, gut, liver minerals, movement, mindset, your body doesn't just change, it remembers how to function again.
So let's jump into her story and unpack what really happens when you do GLP-1s the right way. Welcome, Carly.
Hi,
Hi, thanks for
Karli.
having me.
So I'm Dr. Kylie. You just heard from Jessica Bricky as well. And our special guest today is Karli Sine. And she's been using peptides for what, 2.5 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years.
2.5 years. So, Carly, take us back to the moment that you overcame the fear and said yes to these things. Because really, 2.5 years ago, they weren't mainstream like they are now.
Yeah, I think when I really first heard of it in general, it was like connected to the Kardashians. People were calling it like the Kardashian drug. And I didn't even really know what that meant. But at the time, I had a friend who had mentioned semaglutide to me. And I was completely clueless, but I'm a big researcher. So I started to do some digging and I was like, oh, wow, like this sounds like it could really help me because I have PCOS and insulin resistance. And when I saw the benefits that it had for all of these people who also had PCOS and insulin resistance, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe it's not just about weight loss. But I was going into it specifically for losing weight because I had heard that it had helped with that. So I was very skeptical. And it was actually really hard to get at the time. Like, I got my prescription
Yeah.
from my primary care physician at the time, and he was like, I've never prescribed this. I don't even know what to tell you. Like, he just said, good luck, kind of. Didn't really give me any guidance. And I felt very like alone in my decision, but I knew I wanted to do it just from my research. And it took me about 3 months to even get the prescription in my hand because I couldn't find anyone. I couldn't find
To
anyone,
fulfill it.
yeah, to fulfill it. So,
Wow.
anyways, once I started, it was like amazing how almost instantly it was starting to help me.
Do
Okay,
you think when
walk
you
us.
had
Sorry,
your,
Jess.
no, I'm sorry, Kylie. I'm going to confuse you two, by the way, Karli and Kylie.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm
we
going to
got lots of
apologize
K's
right
in the
now.
room.
I will probably do that frequently. But a lot of women that have PCOS do not know the connection with their blood sugar. So did you know at the time even that you had insulin resistance, or is that something that you have come to learn along this journey?
It was actually around that time when I started doing the digging that I was like, oh, wow. I did know that PCOS was like the root cause was in something to do with insulin. I just didn't understand it. But when I was reading about the medication and these peptides, I was like, wow, I think that this might connect the two together and like help them both. And so I obviously didn't know the depths of it now, but when I first started, I just was excited. Like it just was more so like, hopefully this works. And honestly, when I started, I actually had no, I really didn't have any like I'll probably be that person that it doesn't work for. And, that's how every single diet, that's how every single prescription has been for me. Like nothing had ever worked until this. And even just my first week, I was a really quick responder. Body just like it clicked so fast for me.
That's amazing. And also, what we know now versus what we knew 2.5 years ago about how
Oh,
people are responding
so
and
different.
dosing and all that. I mean, people will learn as they listen to our podcast. I'm a big microdose person. But 2.5 years ago, that wasn't being talked about,
No.
at not even a little bit. So how did you, with the doctor who kind of released you, come to the idea of what your dose was even going to be? And then did you suffer from the side effects that so many suffer from?
Yeah, so he had just prescribed me the regular dosing that everyone gets prescribed, the normal program, if you want to call it that. And I I followed it and I did have side effects. I will say that I didn't have any guidance at all on diet and like nutrition at all. I had no guidance on that, pairing it with these peptides. And I had to figure that part out for myself. And I think that was the hardest part. Um, but yeah, when I started, it was pretty rough for the first little bit because I was still in my old habits and in my old way of eating. More so, out of just it is a habit. Like I just was used to finishing an entire plate and I was just used to pushing through like, oh, I started to feel full on these prescription on this peptide and I was like, I don't think I'm actually full because I can eat an entire plate of food and I would just keep trying to eat. Like I was just in such an old way of mindset eating that it took me a while to be like, wow, these are like actually helping me kind of shift my ways into becoming like a normal person, if you want to say it like that. I
Well,
just,
it quieted those that brain signaling. Like all of a sudden you realize
yes.
the plate of food that you were eating is no longer what you need.
Yeah. And I had never had that before. I had never had that like turn off. Like I could just eat and eat. And then I would eventually be like, I guess I should stop eating now. Like I never had this like you're full. Like I never had that. And it was really wild to finally shift into this place where I was like, okay, I need to stop eating because I'm starting to feel sick. Like if I take too many two bites, one too many bites, I feel yucky. And then I started connecting that like I was way underhydrated. So a lot of my side effects all came down to my nutrition and how I was eating. It wasn't, I truly don't believe it was that dose because I started on a microdose. It was that I wasn't working with the tool.
Sure. Yeah. But you didn't, nobody knew how to
And
work with
no
the
one
tool
knew.
back
I
then.
didn't
Right.
know. Yeah.
Right. And I would say, so I'm going to just tell you a little story about something that happened here in my office. So, about that same time, I had one of my clients come into my office and she too was being prescribed. Actually, she was getting it through a med spa because it was so hard to get back then that there was limited availability and she was getting it through a med spa. She was paying like $1,000 a month, some like crazy amount. But again, she was desperate. Like nothing had ever worked and whatever. Now, she was on my treatment table every 3 weeks. For years, I knew her body like the back of my hand. And we had a gap where she didn't come in for about 8 weeks. And suddenly she came in. And when I tell you, I put my hand into her body and it felt like jello. It's no exaggeration. There was no tone. She was doing CrossFit 3 times a week. She was doing Pilates 4 times a week. And yet her body just lost all tone, all everywhere. Now, normally, even with somebody that comes into my office, if they're overweight or they're obese, I can find the big muscles. I can find your bicep. I can find your hamstring. None of that was detectable. And it scared me because this is the first experience I'd had with somebody that was using the peptides in this way. And she had at that point lost a significant amount of weight rapidly. I sent her back to her doctor and I said, we need to figure out what's happening here because I'm nervous. And the doctor poo-pooed it. You're not wasting muscles. Nothing's happening. Everything's fine. That's just a rumor people are starting to talk about. Well, it wasn't a rumor. It was really happening. And I was scared about like her heart, which is a muscle. Fast forward now to 2.5 years, we understood she changed nothing in her life,
Mhm.
right? She wasn't being guided either. She was still like the food she was eating was a donut for breakfast and
Yeah.
pizza for dinner. So there was no change and there was no protein going into that body whatsoever. Now she's great. She's everything now is wonderful. But at the time and back at your time, there was nothing for people to be supported well and have a good outcome. But the wins on the scale, they feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they feel really good. And I will say it was really a big deep dive just for me personally to learn about how important the protein side of it was because what I was running into is that I would sit down in front of my food and probably similar to this woman who she was like you were saying she was still eating a donut for breakfast kind of a thing where I was used to eating like my carbs first and maybe like my sides first or whatever that was. And I very quickly learned that I had to eat my protein first because of how fast I would get full. And so I always tell everyone who I coach and who I speak with, I'm always saying, make every bite count. You now are in this new place of shifting and your stomach is only going to be holding so much food now and you're holding it longer and you want to make sure that it's the best in there. It's like you don't want to be having a donut sit in your body for
Yeah, there's
hours, you
no
know?
nutritional value whatsoever there.
None. And so I always say make every bite count that like you're getting that protein first so that you can make sure that this is going to be working with your body. And then you are retaining that muscle and you're not losing that. And you're able to, you may be losing the fat, but you're also helping your nutrition. But that's such a mind shift.
It,
That's where it is.
I
it's
think it's a
retraining your
mind
body, which is
shift.
why this is a tool.
Yeah.
It's a mind shift, but it's also a generational shift.
Mm.
Because as you think about like how many times of us parents, and I know Carly, you have a 2-year-old, same with
Mm.
me. So what did you start these right after you had a baby?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so just postpartum. And I think, how many times do us parents say, oh, you need to clean your plates. You're not
Hmm.
done yet. You still have food on your plate.
Yeah.
Where I'm aware of this. And so as a mom, I've always said, is your tummy happy to my kids? And I've noticed like even the neighbors and family, they're just like, you have to eat everything that's on your plate. And in my mind, that's setting us up to realize as adults, we have to eat everything on our plate.
It's so
And
true.
it's not true.
I felt really guilty for a while because I wouldn't eat everything on my plate and I was throwing food away and it was a really weird thing to start doing. I used to look at my friends who would like say, "Oh, I'm so full," and they'd have like this whole thing on their plate and I'd be like, "There's no way." Like I actually thought that they were lying. Like I thought that they were just like putting on like a front to like I'm not going to eat in front of people. Like I thought it was so weird. And it's so crazy how like the connection of food was like it was so unhealthy and it was a generational thing. Like we were always told to finish our food, always. And I do say that to my kids sometimes. And so I love that, like keeping
Yeah, you
your
can switch. Is your
tummy
tummy
happy.
happy?
Yeah, I
And with
love
my
that.
kids, like especially coming off the holiday season, it's like, okay, we have to have a lot of healthy food and a little bit of junky food.
Mhm.
And I have a 5-year-old who loves her carbohydrates and loves her sweets. And I always say to her, Hallie, did you eat healthy food first? Okay, mom. Like she just knows like it's okay to have a donut here and there, but it's not okay to eat it consistently every single day. And one of the fast tricks that I've learned to understand your metabolism, where it's at with your insulin, is if you can take like a bite of a Hershey's candy bar and be done with one bite.
Mm.
Can you take a bite of a donut and be done? Or do you have to finish the whole thing? For me, I've always just been able to take a bite. I was one of those kids where I had my Halloween candy in the drawer still in the next Halloween. It was just there. It was never appealing to me. I could eat a bite of it and call it good. And so I think that's a good judgment on where your insulin and where your metabolic health is can you just take a bite and call it good? And if you can't, it's not against you. It's that your body needs some assistance.
Right, the signaling's off.
Yeah.
Carly, when you started losing your weight, did you lose it quickly? Like, what was your time frame for that?
I did lose mine quickly, and it's so crazy even looking back after helping so many people on their journey now. It's actually really crazy how fast I lost my weight. I ended up losing my full 55 pounds in about 5 months.
Whoa,
It was very fast. And like I think even people around me were like, are you okay? But
sure.
like
Yeah,
internally,
especially postpartum.
yeah, and I had never, even before my kids, I will say, I've never been a small person. I've always struggled with my weight, my PCOS. It's always been a struggle in my life. But yeah, when I started losing my weight, it was kind of like, oh no, like Carly's withering away. It was like this fear, like people were like, "Are you okay?" But on my end of it, I was like, I have never in my life felt so good. And it was so crazy. I think this was honestly one of the craziest things for me was that as my weight was coming off, which this is going to sound like, well, duh, obviously you felt like this, but I'd never experienced it, is that as my weight was coming off, it was so much easier to work out that I actually wanted to work out. And so when I used to work out prior and, someone would be like, I'd be following a program and I'd be watching this person, I'm like, how on earth are they even doing that? Like, I don't even get how they can do, 30 reps of that when I can barely even do eight. Like, I couldn't fathom it. But it's like, I was finally at this point where the weight was off of me, like the heaviness, and I was finally able to like focus on building muscle and toning up. And I could actually physically move my body. Like it was easier. And so I think that was one of the best parts of, even though it came off quickly, but I quickly was like, wow, I want to like gain muscle. I can move my body easier. My joints felt good. And that was one of the coolest parts. But I know that it's not like that for everyone. I know that a lot of people don't even start to see weight loss with the weight loss program and going up in dose. Some don't even see any change until month 4. And that's a pretty high dose. And then they're like, wow, I'm finally seeing a change. But there's a lot of factors that go into that too, because some people, even on the weight loss dose, they're not drinking hardly any water. You won't even have any success at all in weight loss or with this as a tool at all if you're not drinking water. And so when people are like, yeah, I still drink like only soda in the day. I'm like, what are you doing? You just have this, you're using this tool and you're just like leveling it out. It's not even able to help you when you're not drinking water and eating protein. And so then usually some of those shifts will help people lose quicker. But I was like dedicated. I drank so much water. I ate so much protein in my days. Like I was super, super dedicated. I don't know if I can like contribute that to like how fast I lost it, but I was a quick responder and it's okay. Some people don't lose it quick that fast, but it will still work for people.
Well, that's also the magic of all this. Like this is a very individualized journey for people
Hmm. Yeah.
because what I tell people in my office too is I could have a husband and wife come in, both of them are sitting there in front of me with type 2 diabetes, right? Or maybe they're just insulin resistant. They haven't officially hit that type 2 diagnosis. And he might be 6'5", 240 pounds, and she is 6'4", 140 pounds, right? And yet their dosing would be the same, which is wild to me because how does that mathematically even make sense, right? You're
Mhm.
talking about completely different body types. But I love that we're in a position now that people are starting to pay attention that these journeys can be so much more individualized and
Yeah.
understand that that weight loss is going to be until you find what it is that your body needs, because it isn't the same as everybody else's.
Yeah.
Um, to be patient with it and understand these will support you. These tools are incredible, but the foundational work has to be a part of it. But it
Yes.
doesn't happen instantly because there's so many mindset shifts that have to occur during this. What about things like people are really
Jess, can I
afraid of
push
things
pause
like
really
hair?
fast?
Yeah.
Let's just share a tip on how we can drink more water starting today. I'll share my tip.
Okay.
I'm terrible at it. My husband will have a gallon of water plus a day. He's a former bodybuilder. He knows how to do these things. But I have to have a water bottle on my desk. If I don't see it, out of sight, out of mind. And I'll get to the end of my workday and it's like, gosh, dang it, I only had 32 ounces today because that was all my water bottle was.
Mm.
Or lately, it's like, I don't think I had anything. So for me, I need two things to drink more water. I need one, the water bottle to be full. I know that sounds pathetic, but I go through so many water bottles because I just don't take half a minute and fill them up in the morning. So if I'm going to drink more water, I might as well just buy a water bottle that's already full. And number two is to stick it on my desk. So what's helped you guys drink more water?
Carly, you want to answer that? I'll go
Yeah.
last. Go ahead.
Yeah. I hate water. I've never enjoyed drinking water. I've always had a really hard time with it. And I'm that wife where my husband's constantly like, have you had any water today? Like my whole life, it's been like that. And so when I started this and I knew how much water I had to drink, and I had met an obesity practitioner. She was like a specialist in obesity and she helped people on these. I asked her, I said, tell me how much water I need in a day. She said, a minimum of 60 ounces, a minimum if you're on these peptides. And I was like flailing. I'm like, that's so much water. And then I ended up getting to this point where I was able to drink like 80 plus in a day. And the only thing that gave me life were those packets that could give me some kind of electrolyte, some kind of
Some
flavor,
flavor.
just the flavor. And like, I agree. I had like a really cute mug, and like people are like, it helps me drink. I don't, it wasn't that. I just am like a flavor person. And so just having like any kind of electrolyte added in there is what kept me going. And it's how I can drink as much water as I drink now.
What's
Okay.
your
I
favorite
for
one?
me for me it's a vessel. For me it's like this right here is sparkly and a glass straw because it's a mouthfeel for me also. So I could have this sitting on my desk and a glass of water sitting on my desk and I will always go to this for whatever reason. I just don't enjoy as much drinking out of a glass. The more I drink, the more I crave, though. And I think a lot of people will find that too. If when you are in a good rhythm, a lot of times your body's going to say, hey, we're missing this, and it's going to give you those signals. But for me, it's definitely about that. But also, I'm a great water drinker. So it's been years since I've been a poor water drinker. So it's hard for me to go back to that and remember. But working with people, I think to your point, electrolytes are a big one and a good quality because there's a lot of garbage out there, a good quality one, but it doesn't have to be one that's like blasting you with a ton of electrolytes all day. Just even a low amount electrolyte is good enough to flavor. Even putting some citrus in it, like dropping in some lemon, some lime, a combination. Sometimes I get fancy and I'll put stuff in my water. Um, and other things that we drink will count towards our water intake too, and certain things won't. For example, coffee is dehydrating. Don't have a problem with people that drink coffee, but if you think that because it's made with water, is counting towards your water intake, not really. But other things will count. Like there are some, like this is a supplement drink that I have, right? This is here. This has supplements in it. That counts towards my water intake as well. So for me, it's a mouth feel and having the right thing that fits in my hand, that feels good in my mouth, and flavoring sometimes, but I'm just in a rhythm with it for me. So that's a little harder for me to answer.
I think that's good that you're in
Well,
that rhythm.
I have my filled up smart water sitting over there still in their package. I'm like, dang, I need to get those out because I haven't drank anything yet this morning.
Because the more we talk about it, the more thirstier we are,
And
right?
I'm not one to eat much either. So it's like we're going on 10:30 in the morning. I haven't had a single thing. So
Oh gosh, Kylie, that's terrible.
I
Um,
know. I call it intermittent fasting, okay?
okay.
But here's the deal. I like if I were to go on a diet, it's gonna be carnivore. I love meat. It's like for dinner, I have a giant dinner usually, and it's full of meat. A lot of times we'll have like steak and onions. That's like our go-to. In fact,
Right.
it's elk steak and onions. And I could just eat it and eat it and eat it. But it's that solid food that Carly was talking about, those proteins, where I think a lot of us, especially us women, are like, oh, you need to eat salads and you need to have a
Yeah.
soup. And it's
No.
like,
Oh,
no, that's not going to be
can we
nutritious for
talk
your
about
body.
salads for just a minute? That's
Yes.
literally everybody thinks, and I'm much older than you guys. So for sure, my generation. So we were told restriction, really key. Salads are going to be really important because they're going to give you fiber. No, first of all, you're getting very little fiber from your salad unless you're putting like chickpeas in it and you have a very colorful
Yeah.
salad. You are not getting that much sal fiber from your salad. So
The
let's throw
iceberg
that out the
lettuce
window.
doesn't count.
It does not count. Second, we're putting so much bulk in it with all of those non-beneficial vegetables, right? They are not beneficial, but largely they're not. Like we're putting a little bit of carrot and a little bit of tomato. Okay, great. There's some antioxidants in there, but the quantity is so small comparatively. So by the time we add in our protein layer, we're just measuring out this small little bit of chicken or shrimp or whatever we're putting on our salad, and it's a garbage meal. It's
Yeah.
great. It tastes delicious. I love a good salad, but my salads are not the typical salad. They are loaded with protein first, a small amount of greens that are on the bed, and I'm making my salad dressing, which that's a whole nother discussion, right? But salads, ditch the
Yes,
salads, guys, because they are not really your friend. They're not that nourishing.
I
Think
know.
about a salad as protein first.
Yeah.
Yes,
If
the
you're
making
creating
every
your
bite
salad,
count. That's been like
protein first.
my little tagline has been make every bite count. And it helps people when they're literally about to take a bite. You're like, wow, I have no protein in this bite. Like I could be a few bites away from feeling full. Like you want to make sure
Yes.
that's in there. It's
Yes.
so important. And yes, salads are like you're like, oh, it's so healthy. And then you're like,
But
I'm
is it?
hungry and I didn't really get that much nutrition from it. Like, I get the idea behind it, but I'm always saying, like, just get a chicken breast or go get something that's a little bit heartier so that you're not later in the day, you're not like, wow, I feel so junky. It's because your salad it didn't hold you up.
It didn't, I know. And listen, we can build a healthy salad. So I'm not poo-pooing it
Yes.
completely. We can build a healthy salad. We just need to learn how to do that. Let me go back
I
to your
think
weight loss for
just
though,
one
just a
second.
second, if you
Um,
don't mind. When you lose a lot of weight that quickly, it can be considered like a stress on the body, right? There's like nutritional things that are happening or pauses that are going to happen with your body prioritizing and wants to become protective. And in that kind of stress response, so we'll see it happen in, when we're in crisis, like maybe there's a family crisis or something like that, but losing weight quickly is also a stressor.
Mhm.
How did you do with like, how was your skin health and how about your hair? Because people talk about that, they're scared about that.
Yeah, this is like a huge topic of conversation. And I actually feel like it's a big reason people don't even start it is because they're like, I already have thin, fine hair. I have no desire to lose any more of it. Like that's where the conversation starts for a lot of people I talk to. And for me, I've always had really thick hair, but I will tell you, I had no education. I had no education on what these were gonna, how these work and what they do. And
you were
I did
going
not
off faith.
yeah, well, yeah, and I just had no information that like that was going to even be a part of my journey. But on top of that, I had just had a baby, like 3.5 months before. And so as I had like hair loss, I was like, wow, like I haven't had this much postpartum hair loss out of all four of my kids, like until my last. Like, this is so crazy. So I like would have hair shedding and it was like feeling really weird. But then people were like, it's the peptide that you're on. And I was like, oh. And then I started digging into that. And I'm actually a hairstylist. And so I've done hair for
Oh, I'm
15
glad I
years.
asked. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm a hairstylist. I did hair for 15 years. And so it was really strange, but I kept thinking like my hair cycle just must be off. And like I just was trying to figure it out. And then when I did connect it to the peptide, I remember thinking, I know that this isn't gonna last forever, but it was hard for a minute, like being like, wow, I am losing some hair. And then it stopped once I hit my goal weight. And once I had kind of figured that out and I was going to wean back down, I got to my goal weight and I got on a microdose and it just completely stopped shedding. I had no more shedding happening. And it was kind of like I could tell that I was in like a recovery point with my hair. And I started just taking Nutrafol and vitamins and tons of water again. And my hair started to grow back. I still even have like little, like, I'm like, oh, I still have little babies growing back. But what's crazy is that I would go through all of that again. I would go through that phase of it if I still got to the way I feel now, like 100 times over, because you can even lose hair. You mentioned stress. You can lose hair. I lost hair when I was getting married, like
Sure, yeah.
planning my wedding. I was like, my hair was like coming out. Like it's just such a stressful time. And that can happen with anything. Even I would have clients sit in my chair and I could see on their hair a line, like it would be like almost fuzzy and or like maybe even closer to their root. And I would be like, did you go through a really stressful time? And they'd be like, oh yeah, a couple months ago, I someone passed away in my family and I was planning the funeral and whatever. I can literally see the stress line of where they were experiencing that in their hair. And sometimes even like color and chemicals, everything is affected. Our whole body is affected by stress. And I don't want to say that our body's going through this like majorly stressful thing when we're on these peptides, but it's such a big shift that our hair takes, the back seat for just a minute and we have some hair shedding and then now it's been growing back and I've just been nurturing it. I actually take another peptide called GHKCU. That's an amazing, amazing peptide for skincare and hair growth. It's amazing.
Is that a daily? Is
GHKCU.
that that peptide? Do you take that daily?
3 times a week.
3 times a week?
Hmm.
I know the peptides, I could talk about them all day long because I
I know.
think in my career, this is probably one of the most excited I have ever been to have something that's going to help people just exactly how you described it. People that are out there struggling every day thinking, they've tried every diet. And listen, I have been through that myself. You've tried every diet under the sun. You've seen all the specialists, all the things, and things will work temporarily, but in the long term, they don't necessarily always stick, or you think, and you start
Yeah.
thinking something's wrong with you. So for me, as a nutritionist, to have these tools there to help people not feel so bad about themselves, to understand that metabolically they're busted, they're not right. How there's that word. You love it when I use that.
Metabolically
But
busted.
when they are, and you start to realize something's just missing,
Hmm.
or my body's just not listening anymore, and there's something that can help me, and there's nothing wrong with me. This changes everything. I'm so excited about that. So skin health and hair health, how we're seeing, this is another side note. Shoulder tears, knee
Hmm.
injuries, all these things in my 30 something years as a massage therapist, they didn't exist 30 something years ago. Not very often. Usually it was a big traumatic thing that would cause it. Fast forward to now, you probably can't cast a net and catch 20 people in it that have a shoulder tear, right? Like it's so common.
Hmm.
And we could dive into why I think that that is all happening, but to have tools out there like BPC 157 that can
Yes,
help people not experience that, can recover better, it's absolutely incredible.
it is. It's incredible. BPC 157 is like so amazing. It is like one of the most powerful, I think, life-changing, not just for weight loss, but just for people who like I haven't been able to like walk in so for so long comfortably. They're able to walk. Like that's amazing. It's so amazing. And I will go back to the skin comment that you said. Excuse me. My skin when I did my when I was on my higher doses and everything, I felt like I was like coming out of this shell of like my old self and like my face was like clearing up and I felt like a whole new person. So my skin actually, maybe it was because I actually started drinking water. Who knows? But my skin was like a completely different thing. Like I felt amazing. It was just really my hair, which is common. But yeah, I would say my skin was great.
I want to touch on not just the physical, but the mental and the confidence side. And what has changed in your life with your relationship with your kids, with your spouse. I think that's a hidden benefit that doesn't get talked about because it's cool to lose weight,
Mhm.
but it's even cooler to have the confidence and to be able to rock the relationships that you live, that you have because of the confidence.
Yeah, my confidence like was it bloomed the day I started this GLP-1. I will say I always liked to say or think or believe that I was pretty confident before and I've always been very outgoing. I've always had no problem like just feeling myself, feeling like myself. But this literally helped me blossom into a completely different confident person. And I love that you said with my kids because I can like run around and play with them now without even just being winded, like I actually want to. And I think that that has been a really cool experience where like we can just go, we have a park down the street from our house and like we'll all just run to the park. And it's just,
And you guys, when she says run to the park, she's running at 5,000 feet elevation because we both live in Utah and we know that it's not just a sea level run to the park.
yeah, it's
We might
true.
not be at 10,000 feet in the mountains, but we're still, a good
5,000.
4,500 there in Salt Lake.
Yes, it's so true. And it is but it is one of those things where you don't think that that's going to be affected. I didn't really think that my like relationship with my kids was going to be affected. I started to feel my relationship with my husband change because I was feeling so much more confident in myself. And I was like, I've always thought that I didn't match him. He's like a big, strong bodybuilder. Like
Yeah,
he's
our
just
husbands are the
fit.
same.
Yeah, he's just fit, big, tall, like
It's
handsome.
like they can't even do anything wrong.
Yes, that's my husband,
Yeah.
100%. And then I'm over here like I don't even match him. Like I don't even feel like I would always think, and this is sad, but I mean, I would have thoughts in my head of just like, why is he with me? Like, I don't know, he could find someone better. Like I just was so hard on myself. And I finally got to this point when I was like, oh my gosh, like I actually am confident in myself. I feel so good to be with him. Not that that's like a major, thing, but I
No, I
just
That's a
totally
big
understand.
deal, though.
I mean, it
I,
is, yeah. And even just like our intimate life, like everything started to improve because my confidence was improving. And like I stopped staring at myself in the mirror, just talking so bad to myself. Oh, that makes me emotional.
Oh,
Wow, sorry. I didn't, I was not kind to myself. And I think a lot of us are like that, you know? We stand in front of the mirror.
we're all crying
I
now.
know.
We all stand in front of the mirror and we just nitpick and we just tear ourselves down. And I actually remember my husband had said to me at one point, he said, "You don't talk bad about yourself anymore." Because I was like feeling my health improve and I felt so good in my body. And so yeah, like I mean, the emotional and physical side of it, like watching my body change was fun and feeling the change was fun. But yeah, it totally improved relationships and my confidence skyrocketed. I literally look back and I'm like, who is that? Like, who is that person? Because I feel like I'm a completely different person now in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, you probably look back at some of those pictures, and even though you had happy moments, you realize that underneath that was such an unhappy person.
Oh, definitely. And like times when like I would look at a photo, the amount of photos I've deleted, I wish I had all of the deleted photos, but the times I'd like look at a photo and just delete it, it's like I'm just deleting a memory because of the way I looked and like how I felt in the moment. Like that's wild that I'm deleting memories.
Or hiding in a photo, right? How many
Hiding. Oh
times
my
did you
gosh.
just
I'm like,
let everybody get set up and then
yeah,
hide yourself where you were going to be positioned?
yes. You're just like ahead because
Yeah.
you're like, I don't want anyone to see my body. It's like it is a very different feeling to look at a photo and be like, "Whoa, I like that." Like I had never felt that way. And
Can
so
we
yeah,
use the
it's
term feel sexy? Because I know
yeah,
when I was stalking your Instagram, you make a big deal of like, it's okay to feel sexy.
100%. 100%. And I think a big part of that too was even just a huge change in my wardrobe. I never wore tight clothing. I only wore sweatshirts. I only wore baggy giant t-shirts. Where once I lost the weight, I actually didn't even know what my style was. I was like, who am I? I don't even know what I like anymore. I don't even know how to dress this body. I felt very confused. And then it got to this point where I was just like, I feel really good and I think I can wear a tight shirt now. And then I would be like, oh my gosh, I feel really hot. Like I think that that's okay to feel that way. And like
Honey,
it
can we go
just
to a resort? I have a bikini
yeah.
I want to wear. Like,
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And
yeah.
like wearing bikinis, everything. Like it just was such every aspect of my life changed. Every single aspect, but it all changed for the better. And it it is truly like when people sit and say like it's life changing, it really is.
Awesome. Well, I've loved talking to you. I want to have one more question about where you were getting your peptides in the beginning from your prescription from a pharmaceutical physician.
Mhm.
It shifted.
Yeah.
Where are you getting them from now?
So I had originally got them from my primary care doctor, and as I said before, he was completely unaware of how these worked. I was his first, prescription he had given out of this. I had even called and asked for help, and he just, it's sad, and I was really upset, but he just was like, I don't have any answers for you. And he just apologized. And I remember leaving, like getting off the phone that day, and I was like, wow, that is like the most disheartening feeling to like not get answers from, the doctor that you're getting your prescription from. And so I ended up looking online, and there's like a million different options online. But I now get mine from LEMD, and it has been one of the best experiences. I have loved using them. It's just an online health assessment, and it's just such an easy process to fill out. They actually today released a whole new customization for your peptides. So you can actually a lot of prescriptions will have B12 added in to the compound or whatever. And that's how I've always had mine, is with B12 added in. But now they give you the option to change the B12 to be L-carnitine, or you can have glycine added in, so that if someone doesn't want B12, they don't have to have it. So I actually just placed my new order today with L-carnitine, and I'm so excited. And I went through the whole assessment, and it's just very easy. It's just all of your medical history, and then they have you snap a picture of your body to show them, where you're at and how long you've been on it. And then once you're sent in for approval, that's it. They ship it to your house. And then it's really nice too, because you have a chat with your doctor, your provider,
Yeah.
in the back patient portal, so that if I have any questions, I can just go jump into the chat and like ask any questions that I have. It's
You have
very,
like this secret healthcare team that knows about the peptides
yes.
deep, deep, like from every angle.
Yes, and that's what I was missing in the beginning of my journey, is that like I had questions, and he was a busy doctor. Like he was just like, I don't know. And so this is so much better, because you can go in and chat and ask the questions, and they'll have the answers. But yeah,
That's
they're an
awesome.
amazing company.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, um, one of mine and Jess's missions was I was seeing Jess post.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's losing some weight, but the smile and the vibrancy. And I texted her, I said, Girl, what are you doing? She's like, Peptides. Teach me more. I'm one of these functional medicine practitioners who knows peptides exist, but I don't really know. Like, I had to look up what the heck a peptide even was. It's a combination of amino acids, which we'll get to in a different episode. But I feel as part of our mission here is to not just have the general public understand what a peptide is and the powerful effects that it has on the body, but also the practitioners, helping them understand because patients like you are asking.
Mhm.
And if we can have some answers, that's like why Jess and I are here, is to provide some answers and to provide a safe place where people can go get these things. And also, like you mentioned, have that support in the background.
Yes.
So, all right, Karli, any, I say my own name.
Now I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. Um, my babysitter is Karli too. And I actually, when I was texting you this morning, I texted her first. I'm like, oh wait, shoot, wrong Karli. And it's spelled the exact same. Um, last little, like, if you're thinking about it, what helped you, what would help the listener jump on board?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of people get in their heads about all the side effects. And I think the one thing that really helps people is that the side effects don't last your entire journey. I think there's a misconception that someone's going to like be nauseous every single day of their entire journey, the entire time. It's not like that. The the side effects that most people feel are just in the very beginning, when you're adjusting to the medication, and when you're adjusting your eating, when you're adjusting your water, when you're adjusting your working out. There's so many factors that go into it. And I've worked with so many people who say, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, and then they do it, and then they're like, I feel so silly. Like, I don't know what I was scared of. Like, I was totally able to manage that. Like, I'm a capable person to listen to my body. And then they just have this insanely life-changing experience. And so I think that's the one thing for people who might be like, I'm nervous. I don't know. I'm so scared of the side effects. Don't let that hold you back. That's such a small phase. And some people don't even have side effects. that's a big part too. That some not a lot of that is said. So just
I feel like it's like
hear that.
pregnancy. You know, you go to get pregnant and you're like scared because like what I was deathly ill for my pregnancies. Where I just met with my cousin last night. She's on her 10th kid. I'm
Oh.
serious. In, I don't know, 20 years. She just loves being pregnant. She has nothing. So it's something, it's similar.
Yeah, everyone's starting at a different metabolic state. And a lot of people don't take that into consideration. They'll contact me on week 1. And they're like, nothing's happening. And I'm like, yeah, like it's been 1 week. Like you need to let this get in your
Give
system.
it a minute.
See where you're at month 3. Once you're there, like let's chat. And that's why, like the place I get my prescription from at LEMD, they do 3-month increments so that you can check in and they're giving you time for it to actually work. And that's a big part of it. But then there's someone else like me where at the end of week 1, I had a huge change and I was like, whoa, I've lost 6 pounds. And so it's not going to be like that for everyone. Me and that girl, we started at different places, different diets, different workout routines. There's so many factors, but don't let the fear of judgment, because people judge, don't let the fear of judgment stop you, and don't let the fear of the side effects stop you, because in the end, you'll be buying some skin tight shirt because you've lost so much weight and it
Yeah.
feels so good.
They're
I
gonna
love
judge
that.
anyways.
Right.
Yeah, everyone judges.
Do it
Right.
anyways.
Yeah, no matter what.
And you're what, 2 years? You kept this off for 2 years going strong?
Yeah, 2.5 years. And I'm just on
Still
a
taking
microdose
them?
now. Yeah, I take a microdose once a week.
Yeah, see? That's all you need.
Yeah, it's great. And I
Amazing.
and I I will say I'm not on semaglutide. I lost all of my weight on semaglutide and I wish so badly I would have taken tirzepatide. Um, just because I've been on it now and I know how amazing it is. But at the time, I couldn't afford tirzepatide, so I did semaglutide, and wow, life changing. But then I switched, and this was when I was getting down to my microdose. And when I switched, I didn't realize I kind of always had like a little ping of nausea in my stomach on semaglutide, and it was like oh, it's working. Like I can feel it. It's working. Like my stomach's kind of hurting, which is such a bad thing to think. But I just like knew that that was the semaglutide. Then I switched to tirzepatide and I was like, doesn't work. Doesn't work for me at all. But it was because I didn't feel that little nausea, that little ping of nausea constantly, and it was working. It works better. And so I wish I had done my whole journey on tirzepatide, but both are amazing. And now I'm on just the 2.5 milligram microdose of tirzepatide.
Love that.
Your husband takes it too, right?
Yeah, he does. Just a
But not for
microdose.
weight loss. He's doing it
No.
for mental brain support.
Yeah, he has a condition. He has Parkinson's disease, and there's studies coming
You
out
guys,
how
and they're in their 30s.
yes, yeah. My husband's 35 and he was diagnosed at 33 with Parkinson's. And there were all these studies coming out, which was crazy because it was when I was on my weight loss journey about how these can help Parkinson's disease. And so then he was like, wow, I'll do it. And he's like, if it helps the inflammation in my brain, why not? So he's just always been on a low dose of a GLP-1. And they're saying, and I'm sure so much more will come out in the future, but they're saying that that inflammation is just helping it not progress so that the Parkinson's is kind of staying stagnant.
Well, they're
But
never going to say that they're curing it. They'll
no,
never say that, but
right.
we all know.
Yeah.
There is potential for like Parkinson's runs tremendously in my family. My aunt was diagnosed when in her 30s as well. And I just know that like, one of the side effects or one of the powerful effects of peptides is that brain health, that neuroprotective support. So just wanted to throw that in there as well. Jess, anything else?
No, I think that's it. And I think we'll wrap it up because, Carly's story reminds us that the peptide wasn't the magic. It was the messaging in her body, right? It gave her body the nudge to heal while she did the other work to help support it.
Exactly. And that's what makes these conversations so powerful. Peptides can open the door, but it's the lifestyle, the mindset, and the foundations that keep it open.
Ugh, so good. Listen, if this story inspired you, make sure that you follow Pep Talk, Peptides Unpacked, wherever you listen to us. You can find me, Jessica Bricky. You can get me on my website, b2bwithjess.com, or on my Instagram at jessb_lmt_nc.
Real quick, Carly, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram. It's just my name, Karli.Sine, and also on YouTube, Karli Sine.
So Karli
Yes, correct.
IG and YouTube.
Yep.
You can find me at another podcast called Unshakable Brain, or go to my website at drkylieburton.com/peptides to learn more. Of course, at the end of this concluding, or at the end of this episode, we'd love for you to share with somebody else, especially if they're sitting on the border of should I do this or should I not do this? And maybe get a little bit of encouragement as well. So that's Carly. I'm Dr. Kylie, and
I'm
that's Jess.
Jess.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Carly.
Until next time.